Yonatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksuru Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave. You know what time the candles are offered? 7? Yeah, so after, we'll go to the temple after this. So we want to get absorbed in the Damodar Leela. And we heard something today, it was quite amazing. I never heard before. Indra Swami was saying that he was with Prabhupada in Geneva. Prabhupada gave a lecture and he said that if you think that the love of Mother Yasoda is any less than the love of the gopis, then it's offensive. But sometimes we say Shastra says the love of gopis is the highest, right? And Prabhupada said to think that Mother Yasoda's love is not as great as the gopis is offensive. So this month of Damodar, it gives us an opportunity to meditate on the love of Mother Yasoda. We talked yesterday a little bit about it. And one of the things that we're talking about in Shell Review, which is kind of interesting, is one of the basic principles of our philosophy is that in Krishna's pastimes, in Mathura, Devaki and Vasudeva, they understand that Krishna's God. And when Krishna appeared as God, he appeared with 4 arms. And Devaki and Vasudeva, somehow or other, they have both. They understand he is and he isn't. Obviously, they understood he is because he looked like God. They said, "But we're afraid Kamsa can kill you. Why, if you're God, why would you be afraid?" So there's some influence of Yoga Maya, but there's awareness of his godliness. So there's motherly affection, but there's awareness of the fact that he's God. So that kind of spoils the motherly affection. But in Vrindavan, there's no awareness of his position as God. And Yoga Maya, actually we're going to have to all get very hot. That makes this sound bad. Maybe we can turn on the back button. Try it. It's right there. The button's over here. Right here. Over here. Yeah. So Lord Chaitanya was teaching love of Krishna. He was teaching what happens is just in the recording to get this sound in the back. I'm gonna keep it low. Put it on the lowest one, maybe. It's on the lowest one. Otherwise, we can open the windows. There's a door there.
But the mosquitoes can come.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. So Lord Chaitanya, he introduced love as exhibited by the Brajvasis. And the Brajvasis, in order for their love to be stronger than the love that Vasudeva and Devaki had, they can't know that Krishna's God. Because you understand? It's like that affection, when you don't know Krishna's God, it becomes pure friendship or parental or conjugal. It's not as intense when you know his godliness because there's formality to it because you know he's God, so you'll follow certain formalities. So it can't be spontaneous. Like cowherd boys, they share their lunch, so they'll eat something, say, "Oh, this tastes good," then they'll give it to Krishna. The same thing in a piece of fruit that they bought, because that's what you would do with friends. But if he were God, you couldn't do that. You can't even think about enjoying it, what to speak of eating it, right? So Mother Yashoda's position is different from Devaki's position. Devaki is the mother of Vasudeva Krishna, and Yashoda is the mother of Shyamsundar Krishna. So in the Bhagavatam, usually you read, it says, Krishna was born of Devaki and Vasudeva. When Kamsa went to kill the eighth child, you know, it was switched. Krishna was switched for Subhadra. So he tried to grab her and then she went up. And she said something. She said, the child that's going to kill you is born elsewhere. So born elsewhere means, he didn't say, the child that's going to kill you was already born here. So he was born elsewhere. So what does that mean? So if you study the pastime, you study the acharyas, it means Krishna was actually born as a twin of Subhadra, his sister. They were born together, and and Jasoda, she didn't know that. She was like so fatigued. She actually had twins, and she didn't know. She thought she had a girl or a boy. She didn't know what she had. And so Krishna was actually born as the son of Jasoda. So Shyamasundar Krishna, Jasoda is the mother of Shyamasundar Krishna, but Vasudeva Krishna appeared in Dwarka. They appeared simultaneously. They're two different forms. One's an expansion of the other. So if you say Devaki is the mother, she's the mother of Vasudeva Krishna, Jasoda is the mother of Vrindavan, Braj Krishna, right? So when Devaki was afraid of Kamsa, she said, take him out of here to Braj. So, as we know the story, Vasudeva brought Krishna. And that Krishna was an expansion. So when he brought that Krishna again merged into the original Krishna and became one Krishna, the Krishna that was born of Jasoda. It's there in the Bhagavatam in one verse, and most people don't know it. And everybody says it's Devaki. Krishna is the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. They're actually just expansions of Jasoda and Nanda. They're their expansion. But there's another explanation, and that explanation is that Jasoda means one who gives fame. So she likes to give fame to others. That's one of the things she does. Fame, she gives fame to Krishna, but she gives fame to other devotees. So because she likes to give fame to others, Devaki is known as the mother, the birth mother. When in fact, Jasoda is also the birth mother, but Jasoda gives the fame to Devaki. So most people think of Devaki as the mother. Isn't that interesting? So anyway, another interesting thing that we had spoke about. Video is a little blurry because maybe a bad connection, I don't know. A bad phone, maybe? Jamini, you didn't buy me an iPhone 7. That's why the video is blurry. Because this is an Oppo. Oppo is like, it's an Oppo. What do you expect from an Oppo? But I'm not sure if I can do anything to make the video better. Whoops. Hold on a second.
Can it be done in this phone?
Getting back here. It might be maybe the lighting adjustment. It's anyway, as long as they can hear me.
The lighting.
I mean, the lighting's bad.
And I think this side should be more brighter.
No, because it's above my head. It's the phone. It just doesn't have. Anyway, you'll have to suffer in separation of blurry video. Yeah. Lighting is bad. You're going to turn your light on and blow it on me. Yeah. Is that better, Jamini? Then it'll make me look like I can't tell. This doesn't show. This always keeps the light low. Yeah, it's okay. They don't. It's all right. Doesn't matter. The weather will be better. Yeah. Anyway, we're trying to increase the lighting. All right. Is that any better, Yummy? No. Video. Better now. Said it's better. Okay. It's all right. You can sit down.
If you sit there, it will be better.
No, the light above the head is just all here.
Oh, I see.
So anyway, as we're saying, Jashoda's love is stronger because she doesn't understand the Godhead of Krishna. Anyway, so there's a pastime. You can read about this pastime in the Krishna book. It's in the Bhagavatam, but also it's explained in the Krishna book. And you know the story. Krishna's friends were complaining that he was eating dirt. So they complained about Yashoda. They said, Krishna's eating dirt. So Krishna said, I'm not eating dirt. He said, if you think I'm eating dirt, then you can look in my mouth and see. Right? So she looked in Krishna's mouth. She saw the same thing Arjuna saw. The same universal form Arjuna saw, she saw in Krishna's mouth. And what happened at that point is the veil of Yogamaya was pulled away. So it said in Krishna's book that at that point she started thinking, I'm an illusion, thinking that Krishna's my son, that Nandaraj is my husband, that I am Jasoda, I'm the mother, and so on. And in the Bhagavatam, or commentaries to the Bhagavatam, it says that at that point, with that knowledge, she started going into this mood of renunciation, just like a sannyasi, like giving up the world. So she had knowledge. And now because she had knowledge of Krishna, then that affection for Krishna, it couldn't exist. So, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu says that love, where there's knowledge of God's grandeur, reduces. Or he uses the word made feeble. You know the word feeble? Feeble is like small, it's like insignificant, is that? Like, you said I'm giving you a donation to help your preaching, and you come and give me 3 rupees. That's feeble. It's a feeble donation. What am I going to do with 3 rupees? Can't even buy a candle for 3 rupees. So you said love made feeble. The love is made feeble by awareness of the opulence. So where there's no awareness, then there's the most intense love. So now Jasoda has awareness. So then Yogamaya sees this, and Yogamaya comes and then causes her to forget everything that she just saw. So even though she just saw Krishna, the whole universe in Krishna's mouth, which would make you think, my son must be God, or he must be somebody special, right? How could he see the whole universe in his mouth? He must be God. So then Yogamaya thinks, now this is going to ruin everything, right? So Yogamaya comes and covers Jasoda. And she completely forgets. And not only does she forget, at that point she forgets forever. So even though she saw that, it's forgotten forever. Because if she remembers it at any point, it would ruin the affection. Isn't that interesting? So it shows how the Brajvasis, how their love is perfect because there's no recognition of the supremacy of Krishna. And if they worship God, Narayan, they don't think it's Krishna. So then Jasoda can do whatever she has to do in affection. Now, there's another interesting thing that I don't think I mentioned yesterday that happened in the pastime of the Damodar pastime. There's a couple things. So the milk is a person. So the milk is thinking, if Mother Yasoda breastfeeds him, then he's not going to drink my milk because he'll be full. So the milk boils over so that Mother Yasoda will stop and go. Right? That's one aspect of the story. But the other aspect is quite interesting. It's the aspect of separation. So Krishna's put down, and Mother Yasoda goes to the kitchen. Now they're separated. Right? So Krishna, number one, he's angry because he's hungry. You know, you're hungry. You imagine you're hungry, and you're eating. You just start eating, and I take your plate away. You'd be pretty angry, right, if you're still hungry. What to speak if you're a little kid? Right? So his little kid, he's hungry, and his mother puts him down. Like, why are you putting me down? So he gets angry. But the acharyas also say there was something else that happened. It was very interesting. Maybe I explained it yesterday, but I think you need to explain things 2 or 3 times before you either remember or understand or both. So now Jasoda, she puts him down to tend to the milk, but the milk is for Krishna, so it wasn't anything personal. Right? And now Jasoda is always thinking of Krishna. Her love is so intense that if she's not with Krishna, she feels separation. When Krishna goes out to herd the cows, she feels separation. It just like drives her crazy to let him go. When he turned 5 or 6, whenever, he went out with the calves. That was the first time he was going out. So she was going crazy. She's like always worried about him. She's always thinking about him. Chanting mantras to protect him. She's always afraid about him. Even though Krishna's killing all these demons, nobody can injure Krishna. She's always afraid. So now she's separated from him. So as soon as she's separated, there's feelings of separation. Because I'm not with him. And Krishna's feeling separation also. But Krishna can see that the separation that she has for him is greater than the separation he feels for her. And separation is an ecstasy, right? It's said it's bitter on the outside, but inside it's sweet. And it's one of the highest ecstasies in Krishna consciousness is separation. So everyone feels greater separation from Krishna than Krishna feels from everyone else because he's all attractive. That's why he came as Mahaprabhu. Right? He's looking at everybody, particularly Radharani, and saying, you love me more than I love you. And Krishna thrives on love. And he said, this isn't fair. That you love me more than, and I exist for love, and you have greater love for me than I have love for you. I want to taste the love that you have because Krishna wants to taste love. He says we all want to taste love. But he's the connoisseur of love, so he always wants to taste it. So now he realizes that Jasoda's separation is greater. So he's jealous of Jasoda. And that's another reason he became angry. Isn't that interesting? The psychology that's going on. Now, yesterday we discussed an interesting topic. When you look at these pastimes, the thought will enter your mind. Krishna, it's like when Prabhupada was leaving the world, he was putting the devotees in anxiety because he wanted to go to Govardhan. And they knew, or they thought, if he goes to Govardhan, he wanted to go on a bullock cart, not on a helicopter, on a bullock cart on a bumpy road that you just went on yesterday. And they were more bumpy 30 years ago, or 40 years ago, 30 years ago, almost 30. 87. No, almost 40. 39 years ago. And so devotees were debating, should we allow him to go or should we not? Because if he goes, he'll die, and we shouldn't do something. We shouldn't fulfill the order of the guru if it's going to cost us. Or at least we can't take it. So they were debating, and then they came to Prabhupada and said, this is putting us in too much anxiety. And they said, this whole Leela, it's drawing out our love for you. And then Prabhupada said, well, that's my duty to draw out your love. Right? So we have that example. It's my duty to draw out your love. So then it looks like in Krishna Leela, he's playing the part of a little boy, and he's, the great theatrical actor. So he's acting like he's crying, he's acting like he's afraid, and he's rubbing his eyes, and he's crying, and running from Mother Yasoda. She's got the stick. It looks like he's acting, but he's not acting because due to the influence of Yoga Maya, just as Yasoda doesn't understand Krishna's God, Krishna doesn't understand that he's God. It works both ways. So when he's crying, when he's afraid, it's not that he's acting. Yoga Maya has created this situation. Because just as Krishna says, if the devotee knows me as God, it makes the love feeble. It's the same way for him. How's he going to experience the love if he knows I'm God and I'm just playing? So he actually forgets. And so yesterday we discussed this idea. Is Krishna actually afraid when Yasoda is running with a stick and he looks frightened? Is he actually afraid? And the answer is yes, he is actually afraid. He's not playing. And we discussed, but I didn't read everything. The one thing we explained was that it's an indirect mellow is fear. So fear heightens the relationship. Krishna's showing fear, or devotee has fear. The word is used dread, and fear is a part of dread. That was in relation to Mother Yasoda's fear of Krishna and might get hurt or something. But also, Krishna exhibits fear. It's not the same, but it's real. I want to read a few things about Krishna's fear of his mother, and then we can discuss. So we're talking about Krishna's fear of his mother and his mother's fear for his safety. Right? Yasoda, as I was saying, Yasoda is always afraid that Krishna might get hurt, although he never gets hurt. Nobody's ever hurt him. He's hurt everyone who tried to hurt him. Still she's afraid. Right? That's generated from the motherly affection. If she comes to the point where she thinks, well, actually, he's God and nobody can hurt him, then that rasa of fear wouldn't be there. And that rasa of fear enhances the relationship. It's an indirect rasa. It's a subset of the relationship with indirect rasa of dread. Oh no, he's out alone. Dread. I dread what's going to happen. Okay? So here's a verse. This is, Rupa Goswami writes this. The topic of transcendental fear, as it is perceived by devotees, can be introduced by asking the question, why do devotees fear after Krishna, or after Krishna's well-being, when they know that he is the infallible, eternal and fearless Supreme Lord? Rupa Goswami gives an example. Upon hearing the crying of jackals at Vrindavan, Mother Yasoda would keep a close eye on Krishna, fearing that he might be attacked by them. Mother Yasoda's emotions and her conduct in this regard exemplifies ecstatic love and fear. We should note well that such fear has the unique characteristic, unlike ordinary fear, in which one can recall past and contemplate the future. The only time frame a devotee knows in ecstatic apprehension is the present. So in other words, Krishna's killed all these demons, and right now Madhu Yasoda is afraid when she hears jackals, and she can't reference any other time frame that right now my son could be in danger. She can't reference that he killed this demon, that demon, this demon. What speak of the jackal? Jackals don't even really bother you. At least they don't know. So why can't she reference this? Because if she could, then the fear wouldn't be there, and the fear enhances the love. So by the arrangement of Yogamaya, Yogamaya arranges for the devotee that they will think and act in a way that enhances love. That's the position of Yogamaya. To make you forget whatever you have to forget, that will increase your love. That's how it works. And that's why I was saying when Jasoda understood that Krishna was God, Yogamaya immediately had to cover her because that would ruin the relationship. Right? This in part explains why even though Jasoda may have recognized Krishna's divinity when she saw the universe in his mouth, and why even though she had seen his inestimable power in killing demons, she had forgotten those events of the past. The effect of such a limited time perspective makes devotees worry after Krishna. Worry invokes a sentiment of fear, and fear invokes a sense of potential loss that inspires feelings of possessiveness. One of the symptoms of love, that Krishna is mine. I am Krishna's, Krishna is mine. As I think exhibited an aspect of love. And here it said that if the devotee is afraid that Krishna will be harmed, increases a feeling of possessiveness, which increases love. So if you study Krishna's pastimes, you'll see how everything is arranged to increase love. So like you could say, Krishna's mad after love. He's like a love-a-maniac. You know, I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. He thrives on love, so that and he has Yogamaya arrange everything to increase love. And these leelas, I mean, Krishna thrives on love. We thrive on love. We thrive on love of Krishna. He thrives on love of us. And Krishna, the goal of Krishna consciousness is to remove everything that gets in the way of pure love, because that's what Krishna wants. So, in the material world, there's pure lust, right? And so when there's pure lust, you don't get love for Krishna, because it's completely transcendental to lust, right? So the idea is by hearing about the Damodar pastimes, by meditating on them, and understanding the pure level of love that Yasoda has for Damodar, we develop an attraction to develop that kind of love. And we understand what that love is, what the quality of that love is. You know, it's like, what is real love? I would die for you. That's the highest, isn't it? That's the highest. So you see that for the devotee who loves Krishna, their life is not as valuable as Krishna's life. Their pleasure is not as valuable as Krishna's pleasure. If they're pleased but Krishna's not, they can't be happy. In the material world, if you're pleased and Krishna's not, it doesn't really matter. As long as I'm pleased, I'm happy. Right? But if my pleasure doesn't give Krishna pleasure, it doesn't bother me. I got the nice house. I got the new Jaguar. I got the new, 90-inch screen TV. I'm happy. Well, does this give Krishna pleasure? I don't know, but I'm happy. Isn't it? But in pure love, that doesn't exist. Your happiness only registers when you give pleasure to Krishna. So that we understand that through the Damodar Leela, that then we understand what is Jasoda experiencing. It's far beyond anything you can experience in the material world. And then the hope is that maybe we'd like to get some of that love. And then with that desire, then you realize that purity, that's what it is. It's not about me. I'm always thinking about me. What I want to eat, when do I want to sleep, what do I like, what I don't like. And in love, it's like, what does Krishna want? Because thinking about yourself can't make you happy. It makes you miserable. So if during this month you could get a little drop of understanding or a little drop of desire for that love, then it's amazing. Then it starts to attract you and you want more of it. And then when you chant, you'll chant more purely because you want that pure love, because you know that's what it is. Right? Uh, mm. Thus, it may be said that one characteristic of ever-flourishing loving devotion is that it inspires fear for Krishna in devotees' hearts. So, Prabhupada kind of jokingly said, in the Christian religion they pray, God, please give us our daily bread. But we're worried if we don't give Krishna his daily bread, he might starve. So that's the difference. It's a big difference, isn't it? Another characteristic of loving devotion is its ability to blind a devotee to Krishna's divinity, even when such divinity is being manifest. Okay, it's another aspect. So, Krishna, in the case of Yasoda seeing the universal form, she understood the divinity. But there are other cases where Krishna shows it, but due to Yoga Maya, you can't see it. Because it's not going to help the relationship at that point. When Krishna first took birth in Kamsa's prison, he manifested his full divinity with all opulence for our Narayan form. And then, as we said earlier, then Devaki says, I'm worried that Kamsa is going to kill you. So she's seeing the divinity, but she's not seeing it because it doesn't make sense. How's Kamsa going to kill God? Is it possible? No. So it created this affection out of fear. So the fear was the catalyst for the affection, for the ecstasy. And if she just said, oh, okay, you're here, that's good. So we have nothing to worry about, and let Kamsa come, and he's going to try to kill you, and we'll have fun watching you kill him. We'll have ringside seats, and right in the prison here. But she didn't think like that, which is, if you understood Krishna was God, that's how you think, right? Interesting, isn't it? There are many similar examples from Vrindavan, wherein Krishna displays his divine nature before the Gopas and Gopis, and yet they continue to view him as their own coward associate, like he's killing all these demons. And he's like, okay, he's our friend. He's special. He's wonderful. From these examples, it can be seen that the characteristic of loving devotion are such that devotees are repeatedly fearful for Krishna's safety and well-being. It is this fearfulness that contributes to the sweetness of Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. So the fear just enhances the love. If you ever have a deity and you're afraid, you forgot to feed him, that's good. Here's a verse from the 10th canto. Understanding that his parents were becoming aware of his transcendental opulences, the Supreme Personality of Godhead thought that this should not be allowed to happen. Thus he expanded his yoga maya, which bewilders his devotees. So, like Krishna, let's say Hari Kirtan falls in love with you, but you're actually a queen. But you don't want him to know, because then if he knows, it's like the love is, well, he loves you because you're a queen, so you try to hide it, And you just want him to love you because you're a person, because you had so many men that said they loved you, but they really didn't because you were a queen, and they just wanted to be the prince and the money. So now he's starting to figure out, he might be starting to figure out that you're a queen, and then his love may get polluted, so you deny it, you cover it up, you don't let him know. So if they know Krishna's who he is, it's going to ruin everything, because the intensity of the affection will shift into awe and reverence, and that Krishna doesn't want that. And there's a verse that says that the Brahmins are chanting the Vedas, glorifying Krishna. Om Purnam Ra Purnam Idam Purnam Purnam Budachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnam And Krishna doesn't like that as much as Jasoda running after him, telling him, you're a naughty boy, because it's pure love. It's something we can experience. We relate to pure love. That's what we like, right? More than somebody glorifying you. Oh, Hari Kirtan, Swaha, you are best, you are great, magnanimous. Namo Namaha, all-pervading, supreme intelligence, the source of all good fortunes. And then someone says, Hari Kirtan, give me a hug, I love you. That's going to make you feel good. But the other one is official. So you feel the officialness of it. It's official. It's not a heart-to-heart connection. It's an official thing. So if we feel that way, it's because Krishna feels that way. Right? This blinding influence exemplified in parental love can be seen in Devaki Devi. So, when Krishna first took birth, he manifested his full divinity with all opulence. Despite the fact she knew her son was Lord Narayana, she was afraid of Kamsa. So I read that. In order to further understand the nature of transcendental fear, let us now briefly examine its ontological nature and the dynamics how it works. Fear is called sthaya bhava. Sthaya means a permanent emotion. What Prabhupada translates as constitutional ecstasy. As we were saying, it's part of the indirect rasa of dread. Yes? The only thing I can say is because Mother Yasoda is always afraid that something's going to happen because the love is so strong. It's just like there's so many kids walking in the street. You're not really afraid they're going to get run over by a car, but if it's your kid, you're afraid. Car's running into a kid, you might be afraid, but generally when the kid's walking, not your kid, so the more there's affection, the more there's fear. So it seems that Yasoda is always afraid. She's chanting mantras, protect Krishna, right? In other words, that relationship of love with Krishna in which a devotee anticipates that Krishna will fall into a dangerous situation is called dread. You're always expecting something bad could go wrong. And transcendental fear is the ecstatic foundation of how devotees react to dreadful situations. Because fear is the very basis of dread, apprehensive situations naturally invoke fear, and thus fear not only is the constitutional ecstasy of the mellow of dread, also subsequent ecstasy. Anubhava means an ecstasy from an ecstasy. Indirect mellows like dread are not self-sufficient emotions, but rather they manifest from direct mellows. In other words, she has to be in relation in parenthood before the ecstasy of dread will manifest. So she has a relationship. She has the love. Therefore, it manifests. In the example of Mother Yasoda worrying after Krishna, her eternal maternal relationship is the shelter of the occasional sense of fear that she feels for him. So because the love, as we're saying, because of love there is fear. And the love is generated from a maternal relationship. So the maternal relationship has to be there for the fear to be there. While all pure devotees will fear after Krishna, it is often found that women and children most readily do so. The cause of devotees becoming fearful is when they sense some danger befalling Krishna. Such danger may be at least of three kinds: the presence of a horrible form of a demon, like Putana, the display of an antagonistic nature of his adversary, like Shishupal, and the immense power of Krishna's opponent, like Indra. Because love is a foundation of such fear. The greater the love of the devotee, the greater the fear he or she will perceive. And while some demons like Kamsa also feel fear of Krishna, because they have no love for Krishna, their fear is not spiritual and fails to qualify as a divine knower. In other words, unless you have the relationship with Krishna of love, the fear doesn't enhance the relationship. So Kamsa, he feared, but he wasn't in love in a relationship. So his fear just keeps him away from Krishna in a sense. At least it doesn't awaken love. Well, his fear ultimately brought Krishna to kill him, but it didn't bring a loving relationship. So it's not the same thing. It's not in relationship. A host of symptoms are seen to appear in the devotees when they become fearful. These symptoms are perceived in their behavior, their appearance, and in their emotional state. These are called sattvika bhavas, existential ecstasies. And their symptoms, devotees' behavior and behavioral ecstasies. Some of the symptoms are paralysis, perspiration, and fainting. Like when Krishna was in Kali Yuga. Everybody was either drinking the poison water and fainting or seeing him and fainting. The sub-ecstasies, anubhavas, are transformations of devotees' appearances, and they include expansion of the cheeks and dilation of the eyes. So one starts and then the next one comes. Finally, the transitory ecstasies, vyabhicharas, reflect emotional transformations, including illusion, anger, and agitation. So this is Rupa Goswami as analyzing the ecstasies and the emotions of the devotees have. It's just like a scientific analysis of the emotional states of love. This happens and this happens and this happens. But nobody analyzed it before he did. There's no literature that discusses this. So that Nectar Devotion was where he discussed these ecstasies. Although these symptoms may not all be readily noticed or even understood by an observer, still they take place. An example of the visible aggregate of these three ecstasies is when, out of fear for Krishna, devotees glance here and there, conceal themselves, search after Krishna, or cry out a warning to him. So you see in different leelas, sometimes the devotees are just, as we said, although Krishna has killed so many demons, they forget. Because they forget, now they're afraid again. And now all these emotions. The more emotion you have for Krishna, the more there's ecstasy, the more there's love. And in our life, most of our emotions are not for Krishna, they're for other things. And so we want to awaken emotion for Krishna, right? Through kirtan or whatever we do. Like if you do deity worship, then you become attached to your deities. Some emotion for devotees, right? All these things. Yes? It'll wake you up. We used to sell coffee, prasadam coffee, but it wasn't coffee. It was made from grains. People thought it was coffee, and after they drank it, they'd wake up. All devotional mellows have a presiding deity, as well as a characteristic color. So this emotion of fear, there's a deity. The deity is Parshuram. The color is pink. Now it gets interesting. What's the question? The question is Mother Yasoda, does she actually fear for Krishna? And the answer is yes. But now the next question is, can Krishna have fear? Well, we've answered the question, but now we're going into detail. To answer this question, you have to understand the dynamics of loving devotion. Love for Krishna is the cause of devotees' fear for him, love for his devotees can also be the cause of manifesting Krishna's fear of them. Such are the workings of Lord's Yoga Maya. So in this case, it's not that Krishna's fearing for the welfare of the devotees, but they're fearing he's fearing Mother Yasoda's punishment. When we speak of divine love, we think of devotees' love for Krishna. This is because the inhabitants of the world have abandoned love for Krishna in exchange for love of sense gratification. So, you won't get both. Here, I want to cash in my love of Krishna dollars, and I want to get love of sense gratification dollars. That's what we do when we turn our back on Krishna. Here, well, how much love of Krishna do you have? Well, I have $1 million worth of love of Krishna. Okay. You have to exchange that for $1 million of love of sense gratification. Then you can come to the material world and start spending it. So we've exchanged love of Krishna for love of sense gratification. Yes? It's a nice meditation. And the only way out of here and the only way to end the suffering is to get our money back. Turn that in and get love of Krishna. So now we have to learn how to make the conversion. Because we have all this sense gratification money. We have to convert it into love of Krishna money. Right?
But there are no actually sense gratification here.
What?
There are no actually sense gratification.
No, there's the illusion of sense gratification. Sense gratification, I think the word sense pleasure is better than gratification. Gratification would mean that you don't have to do it again because you're satisfied. But the actual understanding is that anything that's pleasurable that you do excites the desire to do it again. That's the psychology of pleasure. So if you have, let's say, a bad habit, and you indulge in that habit, every time you indulge in that habit, it creates a desire, a stronger desire to do it again. Because whenever you do something pleasurable, it registers in your brain and you want to repeat it. That's why we overeat. If something's really good, it's so pleasurable, you can't stop eating it. Right? It's like if I give you a piece of chocolate, the best chocolate in the world, then after I give you another piece, you're sitting there and thinking, is he going to give me another piece? Until I give you like 6 pieces, you won't be quote-unquote satisfied. And it's not going to eliminate your desire for chocolate. Actually, tomorrow, you'll all be talking, well, that chocolate was really good. Maybe we should go over and see if he'll give us some more. So that's the way pleasure works. It's the psychology. It's the psychology of addiction. Addiction is attachment to an experience that is abnormally good. So your ordinary experience, ordinarily what you eat, it's okay. Now I give you something special, and it's, oh my God, I want to get more of that. It's not an ordinary experience. The high of a drug, or whatever it is, the high of anything. So, in order to free yourself from that addiction, you have to stop doing it. Because the more you do it, of course, how to stop doing it's another thing. But every time you do it, it reinforces the desire to do it, because every time you get pleasure, you want to do it again. But to say it's sense gratification, at least the way I understand the word gratification, would mean after you get one piece of chocolate, you go, this is so good, I am so satisfied. And I say, do you want another one? You say, no, this was so good, I'm satisfied. Do you ever want another piece of chocolate in your life? I don't need another one. Having tasted this is so it's like Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, having tasted Shuddhanam, that's it. There's nothing else in the world you'll want. You'll be satisfied. Right? So in the material world, there's sense enjoyment, but not, we call it sense gratification, but maybe the word gratification has many meanings, but the meaning I'm using is a sense that you're satisfied, and that's it. You don't need it. I just need to get a phone, and I have a phone, it's decent. Are you satisfied? Yeah, I'm satisfied with this phone. It means I don't need another phone. So, you exchange your love of Krishna, rupees, and you get cents and general rupees. It's like you go to Las Vegas. You give them money and they give you tokens, and you can gamble with them. And so you have to, then you have so many tokens left, you have to exchange them to get your money. So, but we've been gambling the tokens for so long, we don't want to exchange them. We just want to keep using them. Right? And the more you gamble, the more you gamble. The more you gamble, it's an addiction, like any addiction. So that's the idea. In the process of awakening love for Krishna, we hear of the mature love of Krishna's associates. For instance, the Lord speaks of Radharani, her superlative love, in this way. Sri Radhika is the highest abode of that love, and I am only its object. In other words, the devotee is the reservoir of the love. Krishna is the object of the love. The devotee has the love. It's called ashraya, the shelter of the love. And Krishna is the source or the object of the love. Right? In this verse, the Lord describes two concepts, the abode of love, ashraya, and the object of love, vishaya. Vishaya is Krishna, is the object. Perfect devotees like Sri Radha are repositories of love for Krishna. It may be said that the flow of love is from the devotee towards Krishna. And as we have shown earlier, when devotees see him confronted by a dreadful situation, that outpouring of love results in fear of Krishna. So Krishna loves the devotee loves Krishna. Krishna is not unresponsive to his devotee's love. So even though the devotee is the ashraya, the shelter of love, it doesn't mean Krishna is not feeling it. The flow of love is not unidirectional. It's not one direction. Krishna responds to love. So the flow of love is reciprocal. In the way that it flows from the devotees to Krishna, so it also flows from Krishna to the devotees. The Lord assures Arjuna, he is forthcoming in the verse, as I surrender, I reward accordingly. And to the gopis, Krishna declares this, I'm not able to repay my debt for your spotless service, even within a lifetime of Brahma. Your connection with me is beyond reproach. You have worshipped me, cutting off all domestic ties, which are difficult to break. Therefore, please let your own glorious deeds be your compensation. For now we hear that Krishna can't even repay the gopis for the love they have given him. He can't give them as much love as they give him. In a sense, the devotee is better than Krishna. The devotee has more love than Krishna. It's amazing. Then the devotee gives that love to the conditioned souls. From Krishna's testimony, it is evident that just as devotees are the shelter of love for Krishna, Krishna is the shelter of love for them. The symptoms of love that devotees experience for Krishna are similar to the symptoms of love that he experiences for them. Thus, the dynamics of love between subject and object, well documented by Rupa Goswami, can be equally applied to Krishna's expressions of love for his devotees and to the subsequent mellows that arise in him. So in other words, in Rupa Goswami's books, he described the nature of love that devotees have for Krishna. But he's saying here that nature also describes Krishna's love for the devotees. So you can shift it around. Therefore, in the way that Yogamaya blinds Yasoda to Krishna's true identity, Yogamaya also makes Krishna forget his own divinity. So the question was, when Krishna is fearful, is he actually fearful or is it an act? The answer is, it's not an act. He forgets. Because when he forgets, then love can manifest fully. His association with his Vrindavan surroundings leaves him to conclude that he is a coward boy. Moreover, because Jasoda's spontaneous love for him is so focused on his identity as her son, that it excludes any trace of his divinity. So she's treating him like a little boy, so it empowers or it enables him to not remember that he's God. Not enables him, it prevents him. Excludes any traces of his divinity in his dealings with her, and he feels himself completely dependent on his mother. And Prabhupada writes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unconquerable. No one can conquer the Lord, but he voluntarily accepts subordination to the devotional qualities of his devotee. For example, Lord Krishna accepted subordination to the control of Mother Yasoda because she was a great devotee. The Lord likes to be under the control of his devotees. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said that everyone comes before the Lord and offers him exalted prayers. But the Lord does not feel as pleased when offered such prayers as he does when a devotee out of pure love chastises him as a subordinate. The Lord forgets his exalted position and willingly submits to his pure devotee. Unquote. Krishna's utter dependence on Mother Yasoda as his maintainer and protector means that he is as prone to fear her chastisement as he is prone to bask in her words of praise. And so God fears his mother. He is not play acting, he's actually afraid. Nice, huh? Nice? You like that? You better like it. If you don't like it, you have trouble in your spiritual life. Today is the first day of Kartik, so you have to offer your candles every day. The benefit of offering candles is described in the first class we gave on Kartik. And just a simple act of offering a candle provides so much pleasure to Krishna. So when Krishna is seated on top of the grinding mortar distributing yogurt to the monkeys, loving fear of Mother Yasoda agitates his heart and bewilders his mind. In a distressed condition, his mouth dries up, his eyes dilate, and his cheeks expand. Looking from left to right and back again, he apprehends the inevitable approach of his mother and the unprecedented punishment for unprecedented mischief. In other words, he's a little boy, he stole something, and he's afraid he's going to get seriously punished. So he's eating the yogurt, eating the butter, feeding it to the monkeys, and he's looking around, am I going to get caught? And he's actually afraid. And it says here all the signs, dilation of the eyes, his cheeks are puffed up, all the signs of being afraid are manifest in his face. His heart pounding in fear, and yet intoxicated by newfound freedom, Krishna ponders whether to conceal himself or run to the forest for safety. So my mother is looking for him, what should I do? But his scheming is for naught. Yogamaya has not only inspired transcendental fear of his mother and Krishna, but she has also arranged that Yasoda Devi punish him. And that punishment shall be such as to forever resonate in the annals of Vaishnava love as it does in the hearts of Vaishnavas and in the most remote crevices of his memory. So in other words, Yogamaya is arranging this situation, but she's arranging it for all of us. Because by this intense loving emotion, we get to hear the Leela, and then we get to awaken that love, or at least get a drop of it, or learn about it, or get inspired, or something. Yes? Yes. Divine love is a transcendental river of indestructible nectar, in which two currents flow simultaneously in opposite directions, from devotees to Krishna and Krishna to the devotees. So sometimes it looks like, if you read our books, it looks like it's all about how to develop love for Krishna. It's not about Krishna's love for his devotees, but you have to be aware that it's there, and you'll see it. Now that you're aware of it, you'll see it more. In that river grow lotuses of ecstasies that are of 12 colors, yellow, pink, and black, in which frolic the aquatics of incarnations like Kapila, Nishringa, and Bhargava. By the reverse movement of its waters, the river creates many whirlpools, which draw Krishna and his devotees into their depths, bringing them closer and closer to each other. In this way, lover and beloved sometimes forget their identities, and devotees think they are Krishna, and he thinks of himself as a devotee. Meanwhile, the river waters continually rise and rise, but they are unable to flood their banks because of trees growing there. The trees are the Rasik devotees practicing and perfect to drink the flood waters, and by so doing remain constantly in bloom. So Rasik devotees means devotees who relish these pastimes of love and who are themselves trying to come to that level. So for me, one of the things that these pastimes do especially this one because it's so full, it's so focused and so full of love, is it makes us realize that um, this is what we want, and everything we do that harms our Krishna consciousness just keeps us away from this, isn't it? Like everything we do in the name of sense gratification deprives us of this love, isn't it? Yes. If you think that way, then you'll only want to do things that awaken love, and you'll always think, what can I do to love Krishna? So if it's an austerity, it won't bother you. You'll think, yeah, it'll awaken my love of Krishna. That's the highest treasure. I want it. Krishna wants me to love him. There's the relationship is waiting, so let's do it. May we all fall headlong into that wonderful river of ambrosia of love of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Sri Radha Damodar ki jai. So, if you have any questions, we'll give you a minute to ask, and then we're going to run to offer our lamp to Sri Sri Gaudintai, Sri Sri Krishna Balaram, and Sri Sri Radha Shah. Because we have the unlimited fortune of being here in Vrindavan due to some causeless mercy of some lifetime in the past, where we were kicked, where we were an ant who was kicked. We were a fly who landed in the Charnamrita or something like that. And we walked down the street and there was a pure devotee and we saw him and somehow, so here we are. It works that way. Okay? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gopremanandi. Whoa, we have, yes. Sri Radha ki jai. Kunal and Yamini say, Sri Radha Damodar ki jai. Jamini's only like an hour and a half away from Vrindavan. So Jamini's feeling like intense separation. She was just here and she had to leave yesterday. And she's so close, but so far. So her separation is more intense. And she's probably not able to sleep. But anyway, we feel sorry for her. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada.